Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. Sulaiman Rahim here, Mr. Covenant, breaker 7 seals. Brothers and sisters, I have a few topics I'm going to touch today. I'll probably elaborate them maybe later on in the week, but I just want to cover a few things. Right? Just point out a couple of things that you may not be aware of or may be confused about. But again, fear. You have to understand what fear is, brothers. It's a mental, right? I mean, it's emotional also, right? But when you lose control of something, that's where fear comes from. The more control you have of your situation, the more peace, the more comfortable you are. But the less control, the more fear you have. Fear is a result of control. I try to get people to understand what's driving this reality, what's driving the universe. Understand pressure, energy, but our condition, pressure. If you understand pressure, the angel opens up to you. Because I keep telling you, everything in there is, they talk about pressure in just very detailed ways. Because pressure comes in all kinds of forms. So once you understand the basic idea, right? It's like, for instance, you take and put a pot on the stove, and turn the fire on it. Well, you expect something to happen because you're a prophet, right? You say, okay, that's going to boil in about 15 minutes. Well, you prophesize. Why? Because you know how this works. And so once you understand our reality is based on pressure, you should be able to do that without the angel. I mean, certain things, right? Because once you understand the angel, just get you to work out. It's a gym, get a mental gym. But the underlying principle here is pressure. Anyway, we're going to talk about this fear a little more in detail in a minute, but fear, we've been under fear for 500 years. They put us under extreme fear because we had no control of ourselves. We was in constant fear 24 hours 7. 24/7, like it says, when the day comes, you wish it was night. When night comes, you wish it was day. There'll be no peace, no rest. Right? And that's what they did to us. And now they're trying to, like I had saw this woman today, right? I'm going to talk about that, not directly, but indirectly. Well, because, Trump is want to rewrite history. Because they all want to do that. That's part of the fear. Because they don't want people to know what they actually did. So they want to, because when I was growing up, I mean, there was no history. Black history was pretty much a page, and you was running Africa, bone your nose, and Tarzan, that kind of stuff. But now history is coming out, and he wants to take and have schools not teach it. That's critical race theory. That's harmful. Oh, your history is harmful? I'll move on. Let me move on, brothers and sisters. See? And now blacks will rise up again. I told you that would happen. The demons, it's going to get a lot worse. And remember, everything I say, everything he does is going to backfire. They claim he's going to have some meeting this weekend. It will backfire. Anyway, fear. The fear they put us under, because now America is losing power. So fear, and Trump is the painkiller for fear. The Prozac, or whatever you want to call it. Amen. Because he's going to alleviate that fear. I'm going to alleviate that fear. Make America great again. When was it great? We're going to stop all that critical race theory and all that stuff. See? Fear. We'll talk about that in a little more detail in a few minutes. And that's the name of the game for now. I mean, fear defines everything from now on. unto their destruction. See, when you understand pressure, it's very, I'm going to talk about it in a minute. It's the basic things you just understand. You see? But you have to understand how pressure works. And so, if fear is they lose control, that means America's becoming great, and fear is going and more intense, more intense, more intense. So now you just go, okay, you know the principle, but now you get into the quality. What's the quality of this fear? What's the quality of the pressure? Is it destructive pressure? Constructive pressure? Let's move on, brothers and sisters. They tell you, it gives you some idea of intensity, because it says men's hearts refill. That means it's going to be something's going to happen that's so intense. A loss of control. See? And read into it. It says men's hearts filling for fear of those things, another anticipation, right? Because if we're talking about America here, right? He says, because the powers haven't been shaken. So he wouldn't be fearing if it was the enemies. He'd be fearing if their power was shaken. So that means America's power is going to be shaken to the extent that's going to cause their hearts to fail. Hearts themselves to fail. That means strokes, seizures, so forth, on an epidemic scale, all over America. How intense would that be? And that's the anticipation. Of something that they see going to happen in the Middle East. That's going to shake them to the core. I already warned you, tell you what's going to happen. Because they're losing control. That means if they lose control, that means someone's getting control over them. See, control is not something just lay there. No. Is it night or day? Is it left or right? Right? So power doesn't rest. If you don't control yourself, someone else is controlling you, period. It's just that's the way it is. So that means not only are they losing, but someone's gaining control over them that they don't lack. An enemy is gaining control over them. That's what it's saying here. Enemy is getting control of America. Oh, America can't be controlled. We're superpower. We're the indispensable nation. Yeah, well, you're losing control. Someone's getting control over you. What does that mean? One brother says this. And so he's the prescription. Take Trump. Take one tablet every day. He's going to alleviate the tension. He's going to alleviate the fear. But he's going to do all these things. He hasn't done anything yet. Or he's creating a lot of confusion. He's writing his own obituary. Because all this stuff, these things are going to have everybody say, man, if these things work. No, they're not going to work. He hasn't accomplished anything yet. All these those executive wars and everything, he hasn't accomplished anything. All these tariffs and everything. See, remember, he's talking this stuff, he's putting stuff out there, but they haven't got returns yet. We have a meeting with Iran, it hasn't got returns yet. It's just stuff he's talking. He's going to stop the, Ukraine in one day. He's going to stop the Middle East. Okay. Here, brothers and sisters, I was working quite all day again. And power's gone, because that's what it's saying, right? This power's counterfeit because someone else is getting control of America. That means they have no power. And it's to the degree that it makes people hearts fail. America's losing control of itself. Someone else got control. I restore the wisdom of the wise. That's what's happening. See? Because the wisdom they had was the wisdom when they had control. They don't have wisdom for that wisdom will not work when they're out of control. When they've lost control. That's another way of looking at it. Okay. Everything to do with backfire, everything. The day is over. They're winter people. It was designed for the winter. That's it. The winter's over. It's spring now. So you can look at this again. I slowed down some. Just look at this. Momentous in the heaven and earth, but coming above a sudden. There's energy waves coming back to earth. See earth heating up. This is what Trump is fighting against. Because that's what's happening. Everybody's being more energized. Everybody gets stronger. So they have collisions now. But the weaker form cannot survive the collisions. That's them. They're superior, but they might be survive collisions. It's the backfire. You can read at your own leisure, brothers and sisters. Right? I want to get to my points here. Now here, when you read it, Injil understands that Son of Man, he's got to take on the whole world, the whole entire world. So he had time for any bullshit. He's got to defeat the devil, he's got to defeat the demons, he got to defeat Ishmael, he got to defeat Esau, he got to defeat the goat. It said all this, who can make war with the beasts? That's him, that's America. God can make out. These 10 kings will make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb overcome them. That's the burden he has on him. Remember, because that's the Ancient of Days. He takes control of everything. My sisters. Okay, let's consider this for a minute. The earth. Say the earth was luscious, the entire earth. There's food everywhere, right? It's a paradise, food everywhere. Animals everywhere, right? And food of all kinds everywhere. No deserts, anything, just plant life, everywhere. Well, if that's the case, right, a form of something like capitalism could not exist. Because why would you go work for somebody when there's food everywhere? You want something to eat, it's right there. Anywhere you go, there's plenty of foods. Apple trees, orange trees, grapes, vines, everywhere, Everywhere you go, there's food everywhere. Okay. Now, what if you understood the mathematics of the universe? Then you wouldn't need a religion either, would you? So religion is an attempt to try to understand how it works. But once you have knowledge, you don't need religion. You see what I'm saying? You understand where I'm going for this, brothers and sisters? This system they have is only based on the reality of energy deprivation, that seasonal energy deprivation. So you have to have a capitalist system because there's not enough food for everybody. You got deserts and everything like that, right? So somebody gets control of the food, and if you want food, you got to do what they tell you to do. So work. They can be cruel, or they can be like did us, right? Took everything from us. And then didn't feed as much anyway. I understand that, brothers and sisters. I'm trying to get you to understand how these systems just don't, okay, capitalism wouldn't work in that situation. I mean, why would you work for anybody? You got food everywhere. Come on, brothers and sisters. Consequence, war against consequence. That's what the devils are fighting. Fighting against consequence. Can't win. Every action has opposite, equal reaction. There's no exceptions. So if you've done evil, it will come back your way, and there's nothing you can do about it unless you change that law. Every action has opposite, equal reaction, except for this situation or whatever, except it's false Israel, right? And it says they will be cast down during the war. I just told you about, right? one heaven. Once that happens, all this stuff happens like a dominoes. And we know what's happening any day now. It means all these things, and they're not going to delay. Because all dammed up. Once that dam breaks, stuff going to go flooding out. Who can stand pressure? Look at this. Let me just throw some concepts out at you, brothers and sisters. See here? Now, what I'm saying is, all these are under the same amount of pressure. Black man, the brown man, the white man. Okay, just look at that way. Same amount of pressure, right? So, the pressure is the red, and we're all under pressure. So what happens here? See what happened here? Wait, what did happen? I messed this up. Okay, what happens is, okay, I don't know if you noticed, right? But under identical pressure for all of them, this one was pressed out of existence. This one was oppressed, and this one remained as it was. See, so what's going on here? What I'm saying is that we're all supposed to the same amount of pressure. There's different qualities, but we're also under the same amount of pressure. And so we're saying this pressure that exists is going to crush the devils out of existence. And the next group, right, they'll be a subordinate. I'm trying to show how the same amount of pressure affects different people. So you understand that, and then you understand the makeup of different people. They tell you things. Like, the devil's got the weakest structure. Right? So that helps you understand what's going on in the world right now. Because you say, okay, nothing they can do. You can mess with the quality, but you can't mess with the quantity. Some more processes. I talked about this baptism. I'm not going to talk about it right now. I talked about this yesterday or the day before. Keep this short, brothers and sisters. Okay, and that's what's happening now. See, Mr. Trump, he's caused division, and he doesn't realize war is on the horizon. And he say, oh, no, everybody has to pay attention to him. And now look at Malachi and that. They read Malachi. I mean, Malachi is probably the book that pointed out Elijah Muhammad, right? But they're not teaching Elijah Muhammad's teaching us. I give them $1,000 to anyone who can prove that. For behold, the day cometh that shall burn the oven, and all the proud ye all that do wickedly shall be stubborn, and the day that cometh shall burn them up. And Lord God hosts lead them that it shall leave them with root nor branch. Okay? So you got, there's no root. Oh yeah, right. No branch. Well, you got just a tree trunk. But what is it telling you here? It says, will lead them neither root nor branch. Well, that goes the same thing when it says, fear not him which kills the body, but not able to kill the soul, but rather him which is able to destroy both soul and body in hell. Well, that's what it's talking about there. So neither root or branch. That means whoever cut off, right? Anything that's offspring from them is gone. No branch. And no root. And you say, oh, well, let me just hold on, no. So they're wiped out. What we understand, brothers and sisters, that's what it's saying. This is Malachi. It said, leave root nor branch. And I tried to explain that the other day. Right? And they mainly attacking our females with this. Right? The root nor branch. Same thing. Okay, this is the same thing again. Okay, brothers and sisters. Now, this is the conspiracy. And that's what you need to understand, brothers and sisters. The conspiracy is planning against you. And it says to come as a snare. They don't want you to know about it. If I wouldn't tell you about it, you wouldn't know. They're planning against you consciously. Consciously. He said unto people, behold, the people of children of Israel are more mighty than we. Come, let us deal wisely with them, lest they multiply and come to pass that there forth out in war they join unto the enemies and fight against us and leave out the nation. Now, see what the whole word in it. See, that was Elijah Muhammad's teaching. That's not Farrakhan's teaching, because he says, oh, no. He got a whole different idea, right? He got a whole different idea, right? Because Farrakhan, listen to what they're saying here. Now, they were saying that their fear, this fear of us, you understand that's what he's talking about, right? And said the fear, that's democracy. Oh, that's what it's saying. Because if it says, let's say multiply, the more multiply we have in democracy, right, the more say we should have. That's the idea. But he says, no, they don't, he worried about you multiplying, right? And it came to pass that was, and then falls out of way and joined to a cup. Okay, I guess the next page, right? That's the thing, he says, the idea, he says, they worry about you multiplying, that's impact on the democracy, right? And they don't have faith in you that, well, we'll see in a minute. They multiply and come to pass that there falls out of war. Oh, war happened. That war's about to happen now in the Middle East. That's what he's talking. They don't put it in there because there's this big kerfuffle a while back with Facebook and this guy. Right? Anyway, therefore thou and thou join unto our enemies and fight against us. So see, what's Farrakhan saying? First, just Farrakhan is saying, right? He says, if there's a war, we're going to fight for America. America belongs to us. Okay. So you wouldn't have any problem with this, would you? You understand what I'm saying, brothers and sisters? So they said they were planning against you because they don't want you to do this. They said you multiply. A war falls out when the war's back. Remember, this got to be the war they're talking about where hearts men's failing, right? And they fall. See, yeah. It says, that disaster happens, and then you join on the enemy, so the enemy will be attacking them, right? And then you turn on America. That's exactly what Scripture says is going to happen. Right? Because all the evil they've done to us naturally. And this woman, she was like, oh, yeah, man, white folks bad for us, but some of them, she the one deal, she don't get enough to hook. No, that's going to come to screeching halt in a minute. And then it talks about different things. So the first thing, you can read at your own leisure. It applied abortion wasn't working fast enough. Hold on, brothers and sisters, a minute. I don't know, they did something. This is weird. brothers and sisters. So I'm going to keep this short. Just talk on a few points, and I intend to elaborate on them later on in the week. But the point here is to shake up your thought process, because try to get you to understand how your thought process is very faulty. Okay, hold on. Okay, for instance, let's see here. I'm gonna keep it short. For instance, if you had an idea of paradise, which you never had an idea of paradise because you didn't know the world was a paradise, but when you understand, that's it, you gotta start putting things together, brothers and sisters. When you understand where oil comes from, then you know oil had to be, the place where they see deserts, they found that oil, used to be paradises, because they couldn't be dead, and it had to be paradise for millions of years. Millions of years. Nobody ever told me anything like that. You know? I mean, you know, that's here. I'm not in some place beyond sun, moon, and stars. Right here. Earth had to be a paradise. See? So, because that's where all comes from. It's decayed animal and plant life. Had to be abundance of it. And it's found under the sand. So that means if we're saying all the time, that couldn't happen. It was just some animals, one and two, that couldn't happen. It had to be a lot there. Because look at all the pulling out. Once you understand, say, wow. See? Well, that makes you think, well, heaven must be right here. Secondly, just a couple of things. Secondly, that capitalism capitalism wouldn't work in a paradise. There's food, stuff everywhere. So you have to work for anybody. I mean, you know, it's like you know, you're a billionaire. If you're a billionaire, you have to work for anybody. So you're powered. So you see, that shows it's a temporary system. It's a system during a time when the earth was devoid of energy. Well, how did the earth become devoid of energy? See, I have to ask these questions. And we start doing that, and it starts falling in place. You understand? That's outside of the angel. That's just observing, pay attention, say, okay, it used to be a paradise. It's not a paradise now. How do you get like that, right? And that means this system they have right now is a temporary system, because it wouldn't work in a paradise, right? Okay, and some more things. I'm going to touch on a couple of points here. Maybe you can connect the dots on your own. It says, let's deal with them shrewdly. Now listen to this here. This is Mr. Farrakhan. He says, come, let's deal shrewdly with them, lest they multiply, come to pass. That's democracy, right? It fears you're multiplying. Because if you multiply, they lose control. You see? Remember I told you, the more control you have, the less control you have. The earth is so big, right? So when Adam for a period have control, that means everybody's lose control. You understand that, right? And so how could Adam have control? It means have control of everybody. So that means other people have to lose control for Adam to have control. So I'm put a rule on the earth. That means he's taking people losing control, because Adam's going to take control from people. People be losing control. It means they're going to be in a state of fear. I'm put a new ruler. That means he's taking control. And by definition, by doing that, he's going to put the people that's taking control of them in fear. If you're taking control from them, you can think or not think. It's up to you, bro. It's your choice. At least multiply and come to pass, and that's hitting that democracy, right? Because they don't want you. They don't want you. They don't want democracy. Only if they're control. See? Because otherwise, why would they care about you multiplying? It's democracy, right? I told you it's all a sham. Right? And it come to pass that there falls out of war, and join an enemy and fight against that leader. See? Now, if you take this and put Farrakhan next to that, he said just the opposite. See, what he's saying is, hold on. Hold on for a minute, bosses. He's saying, what is he saying? He's saying, right? If war falls out, no, we're not going to fight. We're going to fight for America. That's what he says. You see? Because they're afraid that we'll fight against America. He said, no, we'll fight for America. That's what he said. Because our land, we got to fight for it. That's what he says. We got him on tape saying it, right? And it says, they're joined onto the enemy. He says, no, we're going to help America. See? And then, so, but he said they're our enemy, right? We're going to help them. If a war breaks out, right, we're going to help them, people that's been slaving us and beating us, his people. Remember, there's no story together, his father's the devil. And lead the country. He said, we're not going anywhere. Think about it. He's addressing their fear. See, it was easy to point that lion dog out. See, he's addressing their fear. He said, "No, we ain't gonna fight. We ain't gonna do that. We're not gonna lead the land. We're not going nowhere, and we're not gonna join the enemy. And we're gonna fight for you." See, I'm just hitting some points, brothers and sisters. So people don't want to think. If people claim they was thinking, they ain't thinking, because that right there, they could have looked in there, and that's a powerhouse right there. Without me having to tell them, that's something they could have thought of themselves and gave a presentation on that. I explained simple. It's simple right there, but they didn't do that. See. So what does that mean? We move on. I don't want to waste time with that anymore, but it's just because right? Because that's simple. That's exactly what Farrakhan's saying. Get them exactly what they want. No, we ain't going to do that. We're going to fight for you. We're going to fight against your enemy. And we're not going to leave the land. We're going to stay right here. Exactly what they said they want. That absorbs their fear, because they feared it, right? See? And the war is breaking, it's about to break out. But no, man, their fear was, hey, no, don't worry about that. We're not going to join the enemy. We're going to fight for you, with you. You know what I'm saying? And we ain't going anywhere. I told you he's working for them. You're going to see in a minute. Because all these people they're ignoring this and you're going to see an internet overload in a minute. Everybody be going, hey man, let me look at my messenger. Because they're ignoring the message and everything else. Oh, they're going to be all over in a minute. Too late though. It's an abortion. I was one of the techniques to get rid of that. And the Democratic Party you love so much, that's exactly what they want. Abortion. Let's abort them. See? But you love the Democratic Party. Remember, they're dealing shrewdly with you so you can't see it coming. So the one you're identifying with is the one that wants to abort you. That's one of the ways to get rid of you. That's one of their first plans. If that don't happen, right, the next one is throw you into the river. See? And they couldn't do that until Farrakhan said, hey, yeah, we're going to fight for you, because under Elijah, they wouldn't be able to do that because he was exempt for the draft. Right? That puts all things together. Why China? Why they didn't? Remember, they made China powerful. They come out, China took our jobs. China didn't take a goddamn thing. They gave China those jobs. China come over here. Nixon went over there and gave China those jobs. China was a basket case. This was in the 70s. Nixon went over there and gave the China those jobs because they didn't want us to have them. Remember, he was Reagan's I forget who was who. He was Reagan's vice president, right? I forget. One was the other vice president. Because Reagan shut the program down. You understand? See what I'm saying here? So they made China powerful. Why? because they want to have a war with China to get rid of you. But you understand that, oh, how you going to do it? Okay. Okay. You're going to find in a minute. And see here, look, I'm just giving some points, brothers and sisters here. Wishing a slinking devil. See how they're doing our women? See, it says they will come after the females. The females want to stay our nation, but they're more susceptible to emotion than we are. See? And so they gave our children control of the female before, in the 60s before. See, as we start, I'm going to talk about that in a minute, as we start gaining control, that fear of our, so they start doing things to alleviate that fear. As we start seeing, we start getting control, they start undermining, trying to neutralize that control. So we, because the black man has control over his families in the 50s, and now you don't have control of them anymore. Every time you did, right? We're gonna talk about that in a minute. So, and they talk to her and tell all this stuff, and then she got your sons running around with braids on, and something so pathetic. I mean, they don't just have braids. Some of them got part like a woman, everything else, earrings, whole 9 yards. See, I ain't putting the woman down. I'm just saying they put her in control. And what is she going to do? How's she going to teach a man to be a man? She's going to teach to be a woman. She can't. What else can she do? She's a woman. All she knows is a woman. Even though she'll try her best the way she think a man should be, but it still be a woman's perspective of what a man should be. It still come down to being a female. It'll come down to that. And so now these guys want to be like the women. They want to be like their mama. Mama go and spend 2 to 5 hours getting hair braided. Hey, see, back in '60s, daddy man said, "You crazy? I ain't got time for that kind of crap." And mama do it. Hey, man, you know. And we don't understand. And so now they're using our women against us, whispering of the devil. See, and they got her naked. The devil, these devil females are the most wicked, evil. I mean, you can't tell the difference between a prostitute and a hoe. You can't. I mean, in the 60s you could, but I said, what's the difference? The prostitutes are angry because now they can't advertise. They can't advertise. They used to advertise. They walk around with their ass showing, everything else. Everybody knew that was a hoe, prostitute or a hoe or whatever. And now you can't tell. And you better not walk up on one of these women and say, "Hey, man, oh, man, then, that's sexual abuse." You see what's going on here? And by you taking the vision of our women away, then what else they're going to do? Because they follow their example. And not only that, then you got the demons, female demons, that because they look just like them. Yeah? And that it says, deal shrewdly with them, and the way to come after us, that's the story of Adam. They didn't come directly to Adam. It came to the female to get to Adam. That's what they're doing. I'm not putting that on women. I'm just saying, because a woman, she sat there, and part of it, our problem too. Right? Because she's sitting there, you done gave her 2 or 3 babies, you done took off somewhere. Then she left there with their babies, she got to control them, she got to feed them, everything else. Put welfare that she's doing that kind of stuff, Section F, she's doing that kind of stuff. So what was she going to do? You ain't there. And then, well, and then if you're there, you got the other problem. Why should you respect you? Because you ain't doing any damn thing. You ain't protecting her. You have no vision for her. Her vision is to have more babies, Popeyes, and what. Anyway, move on. I'm just giving some points, brothers and sisters. See, they're coming after us through our women. See? Now, I'm going to talk about the trial that women have to go through, right? That's a whole another topic I plan on talking about another time, but there's a lot more to it. right? See? But that's their target. And you're not giving a better example. You're not standing up. You tell what she should be doing. How are you going to tell her what she should not be doing when the devil's telling you what you should not be doing? You ain't controlling anything, so why should she listen to you? Right? You're in a state of fear. Right? You're not taking her out of fear. In fact, you part of the reason why she's in fear. Okay, look at this. Now watch this carefully. Now the point is, I'm going to keep this short, brothers and sisters. The point is, that's us, right? And so we're under pressure. They got so much pressure on us. That's how much control they got. They got squeezed down to that little bit of space, right? Because the less space you have, the less control you have, right? So they got squeezed down to, well, they got just that little space in America. That's how much, that little bit of control. The only control we had doing heart causes, to control to breathe, right? Heartbeat, just to live. That's the only control we had. We didn't have control over that either. Because they determine how long we live and whatever. I'm saying that's all the control we had. Our heartbeat and work. Okay, now watch this. Now, remember, they hate us 100%. Hate, right, comes out of fear. Right? Hate is 100% because they transform us 1%. Understand that. I'm trying to put these pieces together for you. Okay, now think about that. Okay, so they have total control over us because they hate us 100%. So they change 100%. You have to change them, you have to control it. So they control us 1%. So what's your name? I asked the brother the other day, he said, Jimmy King. I was trying to explain it to him, right? I said, they told. I said, okay, what's your name? What's your religion? But see, and then I ain't heard him in a few days. You understand? Okay, then what happens? I said, she changed the color? Because now you get more room, you get more control now. And so her hatred is increasing because she loses control over you. Remember, the actual size didn't get any bigger, but you just have more control of it. Understand that. Earth is not getting any bigger. See? This red thing didn't get any bigger. That's them. That's their control. That's their kingdom. But now you have more control in their kingdom. That means they have less control over you. That means the fear is increasing. The hatred is increasing. The hatred and the fear is increasing. Right? So what happens then? Oh, look, oh. Now she really hot now. See, because since so-called civil war, you're getting stronger and stronger. That's why it says in Mark, he broke his chains, nobody control him. If nobody, they couldn't control you anymore, that's why I say you gotta pay attention to things. If they say no one control him, that means they was in total fear of him now. If that was a total fear of him because they couldn't control him anymore. They said no one could control him. They said he had been in chains, but now, so that means, what's the backstory? That means now, well, they had him control, and they don't have control of him. That means their fear of them is intense now, because they're having control of him. At the point that he gets his mind back, the fear isn't because they don't control him anymore. Right? It's coming together. You understand? That's what you gotta. Well, I don't know. That you understand these stories. That's why they say stuff like what they said it. Right? But he was working against himself. He had to get his mind back, and then everything changed. See what I'm saying? So in other words, they're losing control. So now they get angry. But it says, don't let them know. We plan against them. We hate them. But we don't want them to know it. Because we plan against them in secret. Because I tell you, their hatred would not be, it would be hidden from you. They will hide their hatred from you. Let's deal with them shrewdly without them knowing it. Their hatred, because by definition, if you understand how pressure and everything works, their hatred as you went to civil rights, you went to Eurocentric, right? And they have less control over you. That means the hatred increase. And all of a sudden, remember, when do they come with abortion? They ain't come with abortion, right? And full-fledged until so-called civil rights movement. Right? Then they had something before that. They had this thing called eugenics. That's another story, right? That was a way to that was that woman that started. What's her name? Sally, whatever her name was. Eugenics. That was another way to get rid of you. But then they came in who started full force on abortion in the 60s. Because now you was getting control, abortion, and then got you out the house, put women in charge. All these prisons. Prison is another form of abortion, because you ain't making no babies in prison. In fact, you come out there, you probably want to make a baby yourself. I mean, you probably want somebody give you a baby. You see how these programs work? Because they're working against you. We patting you on the head. Oh, we with you. Clinton was good at that. But they're planning you in secret. They keep hiding from it because they're angry because they lose control of you. And so they got to find ways to neutralize it. And so that's what Trump is here for. He gonna change history. Oh, we gonna have to teach this black history anymore. We're gonna teach something else. And now blacks get enraged with him. I told you there's gonna be a war between them. That's another story. So at that point, flee, because now at that point when they lose control of you, they say about to lose total control of you. That's when they attack you. You put these things together, brothers and sisters. That's at the time you flee, because at that time you come together, they lost control. So now their fear is off the page. Their hatred is off the page at that point. That's murder. Kill them. It's been there all the time. It just, right? It was hidden. And so in other words, there was dammed up hate, dammed up rage. See? And then once they lost control, then it comes out 100%. Kill them. That's how we get control again. And that's what Trump lead them to. You think it's not going to happen that way, but that's what he lead them to. I hope you understand, brothers. That's why he had to flee, because they lose control of you. That means their fear increases. It says it's going to be under great fear. That's part of it. Why the great fear? Because what they see over there, right, tells them they about to lose control. They lose control of you. Brothers, Israel goes down. You put these things together, brothers and sisters. The heart's failing. But we know when that happens over here, do you ever put these things together? I don't believe you do. Because if you put the time in together, what happens over there, at the same time you have to flee here. So that fear is directed at you. Great fear coming in. What are they going to do about it? Kill you. Now they expose it. They have no control. Now just kill them. You didn't add, subtract. That's why I don't know. That's something you see right there. Why should somebody explain it to you? It says, we know when it happens, that same thing happened here. They get kicked out here, right? And that same, they attack you. But so they're going to be under great fear. Why? What's the nature of the fear? What are they going to see? It's going to give them a heart attack. Because at the same time, that's when you don't have control of you anymore. You come together. And so you know it's about you, because that's when they attack you. Oh, let me move on, brothers and sisters. So I just don't have time for bullshit anymore. I never had time for it to begin with. Okay, criteria. Is that it? Is that I'm going to close here? Yeah, I'm going to close here, please. Like I said, I'm going to talk a couple of things I'll probably elaborate on later. But as far as criteria right here, All this comes together. All this comes together. Because they plan on getting rid of you. And everything's coming into place right now. And false Israel knows that because they in all their secrets and everything else. That thing about the John Pilate, or whatever his name was all about. Right? So they're in a rush. To get America to take out Iran so they can have trouble in the Middle East, so they could won't get America's wrath after they got rid of us. In fact, it even tells you that, and if you understand Genesis about Adam and Eve, that's what. All I'm trying to bring all these things together. I'm trying to get some points, right? Shake you up and see. But some people, right? So I think I'm gonna close there, brown sisters. Let me see what hair I got here. Got here. Oh. And another thing, say playing games, but if you study about Suleiman, Sword the Lamb, I must have got rid of him. Hold on, brown sister. I missed a couple of things here. Hold on for a second. Then we'll close out. I don't see that here. So what happened to it? There. Yeah, what happened? Okay. I don't know what happened. I had some technical difficulties initially. Okay. And so, okay, that's one of the things right there. It says the Lamb is responsible for the entire planet. You have to take down the demons, the devils, the traitors, the goat, China, India, the dragon, all of it. That's what it says right there in the Injil. That's Farrakhan. He don't even know where he is right now. He's going to know in a minute. We're going to wake him up. We ain't going to let him go out with Alzheimer's and not knowing why he's getting his ass kicked. He going to know. That's responsibility. So you think you got time for your bullshit? That's responsibility. He asked for it. Who can make war with the Lamb? I mean, who can make war with the beast? Who's like the beast who can make war with the beast? These 10 kings make war with the Lamb. You got to go home and take out Ishmael and Esau, and 2 brothers. That's the job ahead. Then you got to resurrect the Levites. That's what it says there. Now, somebody else supposed to be doing all this stuff? And that's what happened. And when they moved this, that's why Mama's going to make us move. It's going to blow up. I mean, it's blowing up over there now. Remember, any excuse me. Excuse me. The abomination of desolation means it's already started. It's just continuation of that. That's phase 2. It's about to happen. And it's just them talking, this is going to happen. Because I tell you what's driving it. They can't stop it. So it's responsibility he has for it, but that's what has to be done. He's doing it. Right? And let's read next here and then close out. Like I said, paradise. Because the earth energized, that means it's going to be, earth and woman's going to be producing more. So stupid ideas like capital, all kind of stuff will not work. It'd be food, all. Only problem is, there's going to be so much. That's why we have to have servants, right? What they call those people that what they call those people that you call in to take care of your garden and all that kind of stuff. I forget what you call them. Right? That's why we said, let me explain this and then I'm going to go. Actually, I'm going to use this to do it. Okay, see pressure here while I was doing this. Now the devil's putting so much pressure. They have enough pressure to crush us. They put so much pressure on who's transformed. They have enough to crush us. Right? So like in this situation here, well, let me go to the next page here. Explain this and go. See what happened? This is it. Previous. See? Okay, see what happened? There's different levels, different structures. So this structure here, he was able to withstand the pressure. This one was, right? The pressure, overwhelmed by the pressure, and this was just crushed out of existence by the pressure, right? So what it's saying is, when you put something under pressure, depends on their structure, how they respond to that pressure. If that pressure is greater than them. So what I'm saying is that, and that's why the devil's why they was told the law, could discipline, because energy times discipline equals power, and power is pressure. So the thing is that when you look at it from strictly that point, from that point of view, I try to explain it. Study pressure, study vectors. From that point of view, right? Okay. The pressure of the planet right now is a certain pressure. Now the pressure is greater than you can withstand. That's death. That's when you really die. Not because of some medicine, commit suicide. The pressure was just too great, and you forced out of existence. I know it's because you don't understand that away, but that's what caused your death. And the external pressures were greater than so you was crushed out of existence. That's death. Or it's different levels of pressure. So in other words, you're under pressure, you crush out of existence, or you're oppressed, right? Because you're in a smaller space. When you're out of existence, you have no space at all. So you put in smaller space, like it did us. You understand that? So the thing is that when you understand from that point of view, the pressures right now, so if you got the 5 pillars, right? See? Then that means what? If you're applying them, and your pressure is greater than the devil's, then you're putting pressure on them. You're forcing them, they're putting it on you. I mean, they're responding, but you control them, they don't control you. Well, I should say exactly like that. You have more control over them than they have over you. But they still exist, they still have some control over you. Right? But you have more over them than they have over you. And your control is increasing. Like right now, the devils have more control of us than we have over them, but as our control is increasing, they become more fearful because now they're losing control. So we're still together. So both of us have, right? So they have less control of us, which means we have more control over them, but they still have more. Wait a minute, boy. Okay, put it in numbers. Say their control is 100, and we down to 25. Then we got 25% control over them, but they got 75% control of us. You understand what I'm saying? So yes, right. So we get down to 50, then we got half and half. So both of us have, but now we have equal control. You understand what I'm saying? So we have some, because even in the Holocaust, we had some control. It's very little, because we're still alive. Maybe we had 1%. They had 99%. Hope you understand that. See? Because it's a balance. Right? Okay, so. The idea is that when the goat comes in here, he's going to represent, he represents consequence, but also he represents the control at the time. And the devils, because the discipline got so low, they had no control over it. They crushed out of existence. But some of them, because they're applying discipline, they follow the law to some degree, then they'll survive it. But they'll be oppressed, right? So in other words, instead of being, the goat has 100% and they have 0, the goat have maybe 75% and they have 25%. Being 25% means, right, they control them. That's where it says some be taken away in the captivity to all the nations. That's why it says that they said Suleiman would be the what's the word they use? See if I can find the exact word they use. I think it's the hope of the Gentiles, but that's the word they use here. So they use another name too. Okay. So in other words, right? They hold on to their Christianity. They applying the law. They say, "Well, I ain't transgender stuff, all that kind of whatever," right? So they able to withstand the pressure, because you got to look at when the goat comes in. You look at the quality of it. They come in, kill and everything, right? Well, okay. If you crushed, what's the quality of your crushing? That's what you got to look at. What's the quality of crushing? Your quality of crushing means you're going to get your head blown off. You're going to throw in the furnace, right? You got a biological weapon on you, right? You were thrown off the bridge. And still, you dead. So what's the how it happened? That's just the quality of it. So when they come in, right, they're going to rape, kill, murder, everything else. And the point of the qualities depends on who you are and the quality of your consequence, bottom line. But you still, if you don't have enough pressure, you'll be crushed. And the crush means it's just the quality of the crushing. You're going to get blown up, you're going to get shot, you're going to whatever, right? But, so they got 100%, so they crush you out of existence. But if you got like 20%, then they won't crush you out of existence. So, right? I mean, that may be, right? You're crippled or something. Hope you understand that concept. So that's why they'll be carried captive of nations, because they was able to have enough discipline. They had that protective, that law, that protective power around it, enough power to keep them being crushed, which translates to means they were taken into captivity. And they're under control. That's when you oppress, it means you're under control of somebody else. The more control they have over you, the more oppressed you are. Hope you understand the idea. See? That's what. So that's what that means. See. But it says that Suleiman, right, that Shah Shabazz, that was a nation under, right, said we become so powerful, so much discipline and everything else, that the pressure was so great that it's going to crush all the nations. They won't be able to withstand it. See? And so I'm going to talk a little more about another subject too, where it ties into this, right? And let's get back to our sisters again. I'm going to just touch on this. See, because they're coming after them on emotion, because we're emotional too, but they're more inclined, right? And they've been attacked. They've been attacking them, really hitting them hard with that, right? Because the bottom line is, I'm going to wait till tomorrow. I want to really deal this really clearly. But the lessons talk about, it gives you hints. They don't understand those lessons. They don't understand them. It says that when the devils were pushing to Europe, it says our women, our sisters, right? Right? Well, I have sisters, Ishmael, right? So they feel sorry for them, and they hid the babies. See? And now that's why they're all white over there. See? So it's telling you that that's a problem. See? And so there's this subject about how the male-female interaction and how going in the future is very complicated. And I'm going to have to take some time to really just talk about that specifically, right? Because there's a lot more to it than I've already said already. There's a lot more to it. But the thing is that your thing is that the demons here. Who's the demons' mothers? Original women. Farrakhan's mother's original woman, at least it seemed like. You think she wanted him dead? Well, yeah, I guess she did. She tried to board him. See, so I want to deal with that properly, because I'm trying to get you to understand quality. See? Because the point is that quality makes a difference. See? I said, okay, it's like a person says, okay, I got to be executed. Which way you want it? You want fire? You want drugs? You want a gunshot? You're still going to be dead. Which way you want it? Okay? And the quality they're coming at us, if you understand that, then you understand how they come at us. Because you understand the quality. You know they're coming at us, but how? That's the quality side of it. How they come after our women. That's one way of coming at us, coming to our women. That's part of the quality of it. Right? Okay. So I'm going to leave it there, brothers and sisters. That's something I wish I didn't have you talk about. But there's a lot more to it than I've said. I tell you a lot more. A lot more. And our women are exposed to it. And by them being exposed to it, we're exposed to it, not children exposed to it. Because remember, abortion, they have to have children. And they have to have sons. They wanted to rid of us out, destroy the seed. But they wanted to keep the women. What's that all about? Okay. And so, if I talk to you strictly about vectors and pressure, I wouldn't have to have this conversation. We didn't have this conversation because they got you locked into quality, not mathematics. Quality is mathematics. And they put it this way. You know the demons got to be destroyed. You might do that mathematically. That's one of the issues I had. Caught me off guard. Right? But they deal with the quality of it, of destruction. And you get down to it and say, well, who's the demon's mothers? Uh-oh. And they got to be part of the destruction. How are they going to do that? See, the quality. That's what caught you. That concept didn't get you. The quality got you. That was a good at dealing with us because they've been studying for 40 years. And they got good at showing us, because they say, okay, I mean, when you go out there and you want to trap something, you want to find nature you're trying to check, because you know it's only going to work, right? I mean, you want to poison something, you poison something else. When we poison for this thing, we poison something else. Right? So you want to find out, like the rat poison, okay, that it might not poison the dog, but it poison the rat. So they know exactly what button to push. Right? And that's one way of getting, I said this a long time ago, but I didn't really think it through at that time, but I said one of the things they're trying to do is, one reason the demons are trying to get demons in the hereafter. Undercover. If I said Solomon, they're not going to be able to get them past him. But that's one of the things they're hoping to get, and they will get that with help of the females, because that might be their son. Okay? You don't have to worry about the females, because the females are definitely, I'm talking about as far as seed, because they don't have the seed. So they can get, if they can get through everything else, they can. That's another story together. Hope you understand, bro. So I'm kind of like vague here because there's so much that I don't want to spend. I don't want to get too deep into it. But this is the last trial. That's the last thing. Remember, the last thing they was doing was the last two tricks they were going to use is abortion and throw into the river. You don't know what throwing the river is. And they said, well, Nile River, no. And so that's a heavy help. And that'll be the last desperate trick they have. And it's going to work on a lot of our women. And by definition, it's going to work on you too, because you know. So I don't know, but I said, yeah, well, no. I mean, I talk about it. Because it caught me off guard. And I see the power of it, the shrewdness of it, the effectiveness of it, because that's very effective. I mean, in fact, abortion itself was effective. They convinced you that you couldn't afford to have that baby because your man was in jail. Why was he in jail? So then you're killing your babies. It's a lot to it, it's a lot more to it than that, brother. I don't know if I'm going to give a presentation on this or not. Because when it hit me, I said, oh man, I said, look at all this other stuff. I know they're playing against us. The quality of it. And you get into that, it's very shrewd. And some things you never say, wow, if I point out to you. But that one right there, just think about that one. If we got to make sure we don't have the traitors and the demons, and we make sure they don't get in to pollute our nation, we almost got to fight with the sisters to do that. Now, we don't want to fight with them. We don't hurt them either. You see the dynamic that's building right there? It's going to be a problem. You don't even see the devil. You don't see the gravity of it yet. I understand it, and there's some more underlying stuff that goes with it. That's just, Elijah Muhammad kind of hinted on it a little bit, because he said that in the end, he said the devils, they would take some kind of chemical or whatever, because they take this stuff now to make it look dark and everything else, and they come to the temple and be pulling the brothers out. So they use their women. He said the last trick they were using with their women. But they're going to use our women. And it's hard not to be sympathetic with them. But be sympathetic with them, with our women on that one, means we let devils and demons into the kingdom. And traitors. And you see what happened to Ishmael? Oh, they're all white now. Blue eyes and every damn thing else. And that could be a problem that lasts even after we get home. If we get through tribulation, even have to deal with Esau. You say, boy, brothers and sisters, ooh, I thought about it. I said, okay, it's a lot deeper than you think. And I get back to Lot's wife. So that means we end up getting rid of a lot of our sisters. So I got, I'm gonna go, brothers and sisters. When they don't call me for God, I said, oh. I didn't look at the quality of this thing. I looked at the quantity. I said, okay, yeah, let's get rid of them. And then hold it. Demons have mothers. Who's their mothers? Oh. Can they stand up and get rid of them? Some of the males. And they're like these people like Ishmael, they got children too. Oh, let me say this last thing. That's what, and I'm close. I don't know what happened to it. I had a problem at the beginning, and stuff got lost, so hold on, let me get this and close out. I don't know what happened here, processes. Hold on. I may have talked about it, but I don't know. Let me see. Okay, yeah. That one. Where is it? That one. That one. That one. That one. Where is it? I don't know what happened to it. Okay, I'll talk about it tomorrow. Okay, I can't find it. It was there. Not there. Right there. I'm back to it. Oh, there it is, right there. Okay. There, right there. Do this real quickly, but it's just hold on. I've neglected to manage that. Okay, brother, so let me show you this real quick and close out. It's troubling. Because it's a quality, oh boy, anyway, let's go on here. Okay, see this right here? This is Malachi. For behold, the day cometh that shall burn as an oven. This is Malachi. We're talking about mentioning the covenant and everything, right? And all the proud, yet all that do wickedly shall be stubble, and the day that cometh shall burn them up. Now, just talking about demons. So those are proud, right? Mr. calls the Son of Man and been all, right? So all proud and burn as an oven, and all the proud, yea, and all that do wickedly, and shall be stubble, and the day that cometh shall burn them up. Then shall leave neither root nor branch. Okay, the same thing here where it says, "Fear not those that kill the body, but kill the soul." Tell me the same thing. Neither root nor branch. That means destroy their DNA. Just totally wipe them out. That's what's going to be necessary. See? And like I said, if you look at it from just a general perspective, yeah, we'll just get rid of them. But then they got this thing intertwined, right, with our women on a very, very intimate emotional level. It's like blackmail. If you do this, I'm going to kill your mama. Oh, man. If you don't do what I tell you, I'm going to kill your mama. And you know what they tell you to do is wrong, but you don't want to kill your mama. I don't know if you understand what's going on here. This is part of their plan. Right? Because a lot of our women is saying we got to kill him emotionally, turn him into Lot's wife in order to get the demons. Am I making it clear enough for you, brothers and sisters? That's just an aspect of it. And a lot of women are going to go because of that. That's what it is. They use it as hostage. I'm hiding behind your women. Now you take me, you want to get me, you got to get them. You want to get me, you got to get them. When you get my son, you got to get them. On a very emotional level. And that's the most emotional attachment every woman has. Giving birth to something 9 months. I'm going to leave it there, brothers and sisters. There's a lot more to it than I'm saying, but ooh. I'm trying to make you understand. These people are not playing. That's just shrewdly. That's just one of them. There's some more. But this is one of them. Let's think about that for a minute. That's not going to be solved overnight. So that means what happens? It's going to happen. We're getting rid of them. We're getting rid of these demons and Ishmael and his seed and all. Well, they all gone. But what's the impact? What kind of scar is that going to leave? I was so busy doing all the things I never even looked into it. I looked into it, I said, oh, what the hell? Just like when I looked at the angel. I go in there and I said, oh man, what the hell is this? Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. was Muslim. Was Muslim. And there's other documentation that tells you to explain that the first ones came over here, the majority of the first came over here, even that movie Amistad, all the sisters on there was covered up, and they was pulling the covers off and raping them. But you don't have nothing to do with us, Sunni land, jinn. But the people that did to us, you love them. I see out there, what they call Starbucks and everything, and inviting their houses. They invite you to their house, and you invite them to their houses. And for our God, tell you to go and kiss their ass, bow down, man. Ooh, let me move on. Let me move on. These days are these days, brothers and sisters. And I need to calm down because what I'm going to talk about, it's not easy. But it says right here, men's hearts failing them. It tells you the nature of the fear, failing them for looking at those things that are coming upon earth, that anticipation of things is coming. For the powers of heaven be shaken up. Whose power? It means their power. They can be feared because of their enemy's power. It's got to be their power. Power of America. Then it was the most powerful. That's what everybody says. It's going to be an epidemic of heart attacks, seizures, strokes. We want brothers and sisters. And this is the Savior. Listen to what he said, make America great again. Or he's going to alleviate your fear. Because fear is a result of losing control. And America's losing control. They lose control of us for the last since the 1860s to 150 years now. Using more and more control of us. That means they have fear us more and more. They hate us. They change 100%. That means they hate something. And they fear our rise. Because they know what they did to us. And they know our unity will be their destruction. They know that. And they react to it, but they can't act to it away. That's why I said they wouldn't spend all that time and money putting up false Israel and the time and expense and all they're going through if they wouldn't fear your rise, because that's the whole purpose of false Israel being here, to prevent your rise. So look how much time and effort they put in there. That's a tell right there. I know you're not paying attention. My brothers and sisters. Where we at here? Oh, here we go. Let me check my sound here, because I don't want to mess this up. Okay. So that's what he promised us. And everything he does will backfire. It's already happening because his taking and scrapping the JCPOA 5 years ago, 6 years ago, isn't the reason why they're in trouble over there in the Middle East right now. That's the reason why all this is going on in the Middle East. And what's happening here, right? See, this gets back to David and Goliath. Goliath is about to be slain. He's slain, his whole kingdom comes down. Goliath is about to be slain. See? But they don't know it. Counterfeit power. America's power, I told you. America's losing everything. Evidence is there, but they're so good at blinding you, and you're so foolish. I mean, how many signs you need? You saw Afghanistan, you saw Vietnam, those two right there, but then Yemen? They say it's the poorest country on the planet, had an air force or anything, and they kicking America's ass over there. America's putting all these planes and trains and ships and everything over there, and they still whooping their ass. Yet they're going to go after Iran? Okay. I will destroy them. Everything Trump do will backfire. It's backfiring now. He's turning the whole world against America. That's a big backfire right there. Because he don't realize that America being a total global war, fatal war, right? Fatal, right? For his very life. And now it won't have any allies because it's turned everybody against him. I tell you, everything. See, that's the wisdom. He think. See, that's what he's trying to tell you. It was destroyed. He think he's wise, and anybody that got a half a brain cell that's working, say. And if you understand the angel, you know that how this is happening by this desolation, what the next stage is, and how it's going to affect America. And you know that, if you're paying attention, you know America need all the allies they need. They can need all the help, and they ain't going to have any, because they turn everybody against them. Then you see, it's telling you right there. He think he's wise, and you right there, you say, hey, that's stupid. So people say it's stupid. He's got a mental war going, he got an economic war going, he got a social war going, he got a war in every respect. He got a political war. He's got everybody against him. And that's why I told you, everybody's coming after America. I told you this. But Farrakhan said we're going to stay here. Now, why the hell you want to stay here when everybody's coming to tear this place apart? Why would you want to stay here? Are you going to help fight them? Yeah, that's what they want you to do. That's why Farrakhan, he's one of them. His father's the devil. He thinks like them. He loves America. He wants to stay here like Oprah. You think she wants to get out of America? She wants to leave $1 billion behind? He said your heart is where your treasure is. Those folks, they going to defend America because, hey man, America goes down, their treasure goes down with it. Then they just, anybody. Oprah's just, nothing. They're nothing. Jay-Z and all of them, they're going to defend America. They ain't going to listen to you because that's where their treasure is. They'll never get that again as they get out of here, not amongst us. They got that from the devils. Both of them are demons anyway. So if you try talking about this, they're going to look at you like you some goddamn fool, man. You think I'm going to give my $1 billion, man? No, I got to not only they're going to listen to you a fool, but they're going to help fight because they want to hold that $1 billion. That makes them a big shot. They're going to fight against you. I know, some of this stuff, it seems like, I don't know, let me move on, brothers and sisters. But everything he's doing is backfiring. And so in a minute, he's going to be, right? He's putting sanction on everybody. In a minute, everybody puts sanction on you. Help us? No, I ain't giving you nothing. Can you get some? Can you give us some weapons? No, man, you got to pay a tariff. Come on, Canada. No, hell no, we don't help you. Come on, Green. No, we ain't help you. Come on, Panama, man. We ain't gonna let the ships come through. Come on, Europe, man. F you, man. You tell us we ain't worth nothing, so F you. You see what I'm saying? Oh, help. He's going to be on his knees. I told you that a couple of years ago. He's going to be on his knees. I got a whole presentation. I show you. He's on his knees begging, please. Nope. In that moment of destruction, there will be no help. They'll be totally abandoned. The Bible tells you that. Totally abandoned. Why? Because it backfired. Because he thought he was making America great. He got to get all this power. And all of a sudden he finds out that all that stuff he was talking turned against him. So now America's on its own. In fact, not only are people turned against, they start fighting. Europe is going to actually fight them. And maybe Canada may too. Because Canada's really connected with Europe. They're not getting help from anybody. Come on, brothers and sisters. See? He thinks he's wise. Everything he does, everything, no exceptions, failing. Just like right now. He's failing with Iran. Well, how can we trust him? You don't want to we ain't gonna make no deal with you. You want to see it backfired. The JCPOA backfired on his ass. I told you, everything he does will backfire. Everything he's doing is backfiring. These terrorists is backfiring on him. They're predicting an economic collapse. And there will be economic collapse. Everything is backfired. Right now, the whole world is against America just on social because they support a false Israel, because now they can't walk around talking how we great people, we protect the, and it's obviously the false Israel could not be doing what they're doing if it wasn't, and their whole world's against them if they was supplying the weapons. Everything he's doing backfiring, but he don't know anything else. And so he's going to double down. He's going to double down. See, he's going to double down. Once he gets his ass kicked in the Middle East, which is going to be dramatic, he's going to double down. They're always talking about using nuclear weapons. Now, if he's telling, that shows how desperate they are. See, you think, oh, America's great. You're going, well, why are they talking about nuclear weapons? You know, if you out here and you fighting a little, you first rate world champion boxer or kung fu guy, right? And you're in the ring with a 15-year-old, right? Don't know anything, right? But man, you don't come out with your best stuff. Hey, man, right? Well, if you say, man, I got to pull out a gun and stuff, man. Wait, hold it. Wait a minute. You must, what's your problem? You got to pull out a gun? You know, you guys, a little 13-year-old right there, and they can barely scratch their ass. You got to pull out a gun? Maybe you ain't as strong as we thought you was. Talking about using nuclear weapons. Okay, watch this, brothers and sisters. For a second. So understand this, brothers and sisters. This is what's driving. When men was in the heavens and earth, but coming above a sudden. This was driving it. Earth is being energized. They call it global warming, all that stuff. Earth is being energized. And that energy is causing the consequence that's dammed up to be break. Right? All that consequence been dammed up. They called this a period of grace. They were, because we didn't retaliate. Right? They call it the spirit. That's what Chris calls spirit of grace, because we didn't retaliate. See, I'm trying to put this together for you, right? So, but now being energized, that dam is hard and hard to hold us back. See, because we was told to submit when we was energy deprived, but now being energized, hard and hard to hold that dam back. And so this is what's driving this whole thing. The earth being energized, right? That's why I say you got to understand pressure, understand vectors, and then you understand what's going on behind the scenes. So be energized, and then it's hard for that dam to, right? And so that's what's driving it. And Trump has no control over that. So he's fighting this. He's fighting the nature of the universe, and he's fighting consequence, which is also the mathematical nature of the universe. He's fighting both of them. He cannot win that. It's impossible. That's what's driving it. And when you understand that, that opens the doors to a lot of other things. Right? So let's move on, brothers and sisters. See, and it's backfire. Everything is it will backfire. It tells us, they don't put these things in for nothing, brothers and sisters. Move on. Okay, now I'm getting to my point here. Fear not them which kill the body, but not able to kill. So I've been saying for years, the soul, right, is your DNA. See, it puts both right here, so it says, because in some case you could think of the soul as the body, right? But it tells you there's two different things, because I hadn't mentioned both of them. It says, fear not which kill the body, but able to kill the soul. So that means there's two different things there. So you know what the body is, so what's the soul then? So they tell, oh, that's some spiritual thing that's hiding inside of you, and it's going to come out when you die and all this stuff. That's bullshit. No, your soul is your DNA. That's your real name. DNA. It's who you really are. That's unique to everyone. Right? Then it gets back to the Quran. Take 4 birds to teach them to climb to you. I'm not going to that kind of brothers and sisters. Okay, here we go. War against consequence. That's what they are. War against consequence. And nature universe, now the universe is contracting. So it's being energized. Right? And as pressure, as the pressure increases, right, the weaker structure collapses first. And they're the weakest structure. They're the weakest structure. Doing Holocaust, right? It wasn't about structure. It was about energy. Well, it was about structure too, because the more structure you had, the less energy you had. So the primary motivation was energy, and they had more of it. And we had less of it because we had a superior structure. But now it's about structure. Right, because now we have energy. So now the confrontation is about structure, and they had the weakest. Now it's against them. Where structure was in their favor during the Holocaust, now it works against them. Oh, Mr. Demon Farrakhan. Okay, here we go. Well, let me go to this next thing first. See here. Now let me get some background here, brothers and sisters. Now, some background about myself, right? I had to put these things together. I'll take a little time here. See, in about the last month or so, see, because I've been so busy with the Injil, getting this information out. It's a struggle. It was hard work. The value of it is the sacrifice, because it took a great sacrifice to get this. That means it has value to it. So if you get this information, you don't do anything with it. What does that mean? Because you accept this information, that's like me giving you money. In fact, this knowledge is more powerful than money itself. It's positive energy. I'm giving you positive energy. I keep telling you, everything bounds. I'm giving you positive energy. What are you doing with it? I'm putting positive energy out there, and if you accept it, what are you doing with it? Because if I give you $1 million, if you want to keep that $1 million, and say, for instance, your balance is, you have 0, right? You ain't no negative, no positive. You live within your means, right? And I give you $1 million. Okay, you got $1 million in negative energy unless you give up $1 million or something else, right? So in other words, say you got $1 million house, got a car, so now, and that's your balance. You got enough energy to have $1 million house and everything. You don't have no negative, so you boom. So I give you that. You say, okay, then you got $1 million in negative energy, so hey, you got to give that house. So now you be balanced, but now you don't have the house, but you got the knowledge. It gets into what I was saying about just the chest, what you have to go through right, to get to the kingdom. That's a little more complicated. But you understand that's where it is. So you take this knowledge, right? You start, the bottom line is the simplest way to look at it is you got to start giving up this world's life. Or if you try to hold on both of them, you're going to destroy yourself. I'm going to hold on that mansion, but I'm going to hold this knowledge too. You got to give it up. I'm against that all the time. It's a little more mathematical, right? And, I don't know, it's not, well, anyway, there's so many things I could talk about, but, anyway, I'm moving on about this, but you see what I'm saying? But it's actually, I'm actually saying that. I'm saying you got to give this world's life and the hereafter, right? Because you want something, you want the hereafter and give this world's life up. You can't have both. And the Quran says that. So that's the thing right there. Because I got this knowledge. This knowledge is going to give me the vision to get to the hereafter, but I got to give up this world life to do it. And so I get this knowledge. You sit there and sit on it and don't do anything and try to hold on to this too. Now you sitting around here, oh, I got $1 million, man, but damn, man, now I got cancer, I got all this other stuff. That's just another type of another story. Because what did it take to get it take? Nobody else got this knowledge, and I keep telling you, this was not easy to get. And I ain't asked for it. I don't even want to do it. I hate doing it. I don't love doing this. I ain't asked to do this. I felt like I got tricked to it, but right? They trusted to me. My people need it, so I'm stepping up. And I'm giving 100%. I ain't doing it reluctantly and right. No, I'm 100% enthused, even though I don't want to do it. And I'm gonna give you some reasons in a minute. More reasons. But see, right, he says, I have a baptism to be baptized with, and how I am straight. So baptism means like a trial or something you're going through. Right? It could be that. But it says, I'm very straight, and it's very difficult. I don't like it. See? It says, I am straight to his accomplishment, man. I wish it was over with, man. You know, like going to the dentist, man, he pulling you, hey, man, I'll be, ooh, it hurt like hell, but you help get this thing over with? So it's a baptism, and during this time right now, he's going through it. So the thing is, you know, I saw it. I never really thought that deeply about what the baptism was, specifically, in detail. And so, like I said, in the last month or so, I've been starting, let me see how the angel applies to me directly. Because I'm so busy trying to see how to get the information out and explain who's what, because it takes time to do that. So I kind of like didn't think too much about how it applies to me directly. I'm not talking about how, you know, okay, I'm break the seals and well, I mean, you know, when you think about it, right? When you break the lamb, he has the resistance of the whole world. Did you get that? He has the resistance or the pressure of the whole world against him. He got the resistance of the whole world. How do you know that? Okay, he got to start out. He got to take down the chief demon. He got to take down the demons. He got to go to war with the demons, right? He got to go to war with them, right? Okay. Okay, then after that, right? It says he got to deal with the devils. It says who can make war with the beasts? Who do you think the beast is in there? They're talking about the devils. America specifically. So who can make war with the beast? Who's like the beast? Says the lamb could do it. Okay, so you got to go to war with them. And you don't even know, I ain't explained that one to you that well yet, right? Then it says he's got to go to war with the goat. These 10 kings will make war with the lamb, and the lamb overcome them. Okay, got to know where to go. You see? Then he got to go to war with Ishmael. Take the land back over Arabia. He's got to lead all these. He's the one doing it. Because if you read the scripture, it says, God says, I got your cover. I'm your Air Force. I'm your backup. But you on the ground, you got to do all this. He got to take on the whole world. That means the whole world is totally against. He got to lift it all himself. I put that a long time ago. I had him like lifting the globe. I know you didn't pay attention to that. That's the pressure he's under. He's got to deal with the whole world. He's got to overcome the whole world. Pretty much by himself with some assistance, right? But that's why he opens the door to it. We take down, he's David to take down Goliath. Once he takes down Goliath, right, everything, because Goliath is the one's holding us back. False Israel. Once that happens, doors open, dam is broke, and then Suleiman, right, he's the one. See, so why I got time for all your bullshit? I ain't asked for this. I don't even want it. I wish if I could find somebody that could do it, you could gladly have it. And so my trials have just begun. Because now either I got to deal directly with the demons, like I said, devils, and I got to go with the goat, and finally end up with Esau. He says, Lamb is the one got to do these things. says no other prophet or messenger ever had that kind of responsibility. Totally. On this show, they said the whole, right, the kingdom would rest on his shoulders. Okay? So if you say it's not me, now who is it? You haven't broken any seals. So aside from that, it says this is starter. It says baptism. At time he's going to bring people, going to cause all this destruction on earth, right? That's what opening the door, right? When you take down false Israel, Armageddon, all that kind of stuff, right? So it says there's something going on right now. So the thing is, it tells you Son of Man had to be tried. Because when you want steel, you got to try it, put it in the furnace and everything, or you want that steel to be strong, and right? You want it to break. You want it to be strong. It's hard. And so you do it. That's why Levi's got to go to tribulation, because they got to be made hard and firm. See? So I've had several trials. I didn't know there was trials until some might know, like that Devil's Island thing, Demon Island. I didn't say that was a trial, but it was a trial. After seeing what was going on, everything finally dawned on me, man, this was a trial. How was I being tried? With the 5 pillars, because that's what got me through it. But see, I had knowledge of the 5 pillars, but I didn't have the wisdom of it. I didn't have the experience. And the experience would make you hard. See, you have knowledge of the gym, but you got to go in and do something with that much equipment. And so and 3 years in there, when everybody was against me, I can't explain to show you. I can't get you to understand, bro. Everybody was against me. I mean, I had nothing. I had no money. I was stranded out there. They had me locked up, right? And whole 9 yards. And all I had was my faith. At that time was faith and some knowledge of 5 pillars. I hadn't had experience yet. I hadn't been tried with it. And I applied them, and I whipped their ass. And I got in. They can't stay. They still wonder how the hell I did it. And when I say the whole island was against me, I'm not playing the whole island was against me. And there's been other trials. That's one of them. Right? Been other trials. And like I said, most of them I didn't recognize until, because sometimes you don't recognize a trial. Like the Quran says, I think I said to my Abraham, I said, and he realized he was being tried. Because sometimes you don't know until you say, oh, what? And you see, and that you got to apply certain things, and then, you're going to stand up or you're going to fold. And the pressure was on me so great on the Guam that they put a lot of pressure on me to fold. They said, man, if you don't do this, man, and they put me, I actually put me on trial, literally on trial, with jury and everything. And said, if you lose this, if you lose this, they're gonna lock me up, because they get all this bullshit. They took, if you make a deal, then you go to jail for 6 years. That's what the deal. That was the deal. 6 years, and you had to get permission to leave the island. What kind of deal is that? Right? I said, I ain't, man. I wouldn't care if it was one day. We going to, right? And they did a lot of things. When I was on trial, right? Where's my book that I got, that green book that I have, on the Injil, that I printed 30 years ago, so everybody knows that I had this knowledge 30 years ago when I broke the seals. They brought that out. They had got the whole of that, because they took all my belongings, everything. And they brought out, right, and all the stuff, materials I had at that time, right? I used to print a lot of materials, and I used to put leaflets and stuff up, right? At that time, I had a different idea about how to deal with the Injil. And, hey man, what about this? What about, I said, was something wrong with it? I was supposed to back down. See, I was supposed to say, man, because I got the devils and all that kind of stuff there, man. And everybody there, Demon Island, man, everybody there, they all really Spanish. That's no story together, right? But everybody was pretty much, next to Demon Island, they were white. Right? And you don't want to go there if you're black. Believe me, you don't want to go there because hardly any few blacks there, and you don't want to go there, right? And I didn't know that when I went. And I stood my ground. I'm here. I walked out of there. And the lawyer, I had to get what they call lawyers, right? They pay you down, public defender, whatever. That's an all straw together. But he pleaded with me, he said, Mr. Ryan, he says, I know you ain't scared of these people. Just leave the island, please. Just please leave the island, because if you spill on the ground, they're gonna put you back in jail again. They're gonna do anything. They're looking for you, and they were. So he finally convinced me I went and left. So the trial. And so then I got the wisdom of the 5 pillars. So hey, I got that down pat. But if I had it broke, I wouldn't have got it. Because the things I saw happen because of those 5 pillars, things I saw that was going down, it was like it was angels. Invisible angels. Like, they was throwing balls at me, and they was knocking the balls out of the park. Bam, bam, bam. And they couldn't understand it. Everything did backfire. Nothing worked. Well, trial, and they have the one. I don't want to go into a lot of details about this, but one of the witnesses is an imam, right? And it's a long story short, but he was going to testify against me because see, you got to be. You got to be one of them. I'm no Sunni. I went over to his mosque a few times, right? And so he was going. And the day before the trial, his mother died, so he had to leave the island. Then one of the cops arrested me. He came out and confessed them to him. And the day of the trial, he had a motorcycle accident. See. See, the thing is, when you understand the mathematics, how the universe works, then things work. And when I say positive energy, that's just general. But when you get the quality of it, see, when you got the 5 pillars, you start controlling the quality. But if you don't know the quality, just faith is good enough. Just faith in it. Faith is, if you got knowledge, you don't need faith anymore. Let me move on. So that's one of the things, right? Okay. So it means another thing. Okay. Now, when I was growing up, in fact, now, I've never had any friends. No, I never had any friends. And I mean, I literally never had any friends. I mean, I hung out when I was a kid, because everybody was hanging around. And we wasn't friends. I mean, I hung out with everybody. I was doing kind of stuff, right? I mean, I didn't do everything they did, right? I mean, I got in trouble a few times. Hey, man, let's take I'm going to stay on the corner because when we moved there, as my father passed, where he had me moved at, it was like right near Weekway Park in Newark. And on Johnson Avenue, I lived right on the corner where everybody hung out at. So I was right in the middle of everything, right? And and they were stealing cars and everything else. I wasn't into that. I didn't know that. I was stupid. Like I said, my father passed, I was stupid. I knew nothing about nothing. Hey, come on, man. We're going to go over to Weekway Park, man. You want to jump in? It was that far, a few blocks. Yeah, come on. I jumped in the car, right? We in Weekway Park driving and here cops. Woo. The guy stole the car. I'm out there running. The cop almost got me. And stuff like that, right? But bottom line, I didn't really make it friends because I wasn't into what they was into. I was into studying, and I would get in fights with them all the time. Because I started talking about science and, what you talking about that shit for, boy? They ain't call me boy, right? Hey, what you call that shit for? What's wrong with you, man? Right? Even the ladies, right? They liked me, but when they started talking to me, the only thing I knew was about science. That's what I was interested in. And nobody was interested in that. So I never made any connections with anybody. And that my whole life. Even after I never had any friends. And my wife could tell you that. I never had any friends. She's friendly, right? But we don't have people come over our house and all that kind of stuff. I don't have no friends. And people I find out anyway, we meet people, And they might seem friendly at first, but once they see where I'm coming from, or I know who I am, they disappear. The bottom line is I never had any friends. And I mean that literally. And I'm a hermit, so I didn't really give a damn about it because I said they didn't want to talk about what I want to talk about. If they want to talk about what I want to talk about, then fine. But no one did, even now. Never had any friends, right? So, so you don't have that emotional connection because friends require you to have an emotional connection, right? And I was never had a connection, emotional connection with people other than my family, and that's my children, and their moms destroyed that pretty much. But as far as other people outside of family, I never had an emotional connection with anybody. I didn't have no friends, And so I never really thought about them like I'm a hermit. I was happy. Like that ain't bother me, ain't bother them. Right? If I very seldom got a conversation with anybody about anything, because then I turned it when they all of a sudden they disappear. Right? I remember one guy told me, I remember. He told me I talk too much. I think too much. That's what he told me. He told me I think too much. That's what he was telling me. I remember this guy that exploited my sister. Right? He gone now. Right? He said, how come you don't hang out? How come you don't run after these girls like everybody else? Well, I ain't run after nobody. I like the girls. I love women. Right? And I'm just man as anybody else. Right? And they like me, but like I said, we couldn't with no conversation there nowhere. Right? And the bottom line is he come telling me because he was after all the ladies all the time. He messed my sister up really bad. But, he gonna tell me what my problem is. I ain't ask him to tell me anything. Well, the reason probably the reason why you don't have a lot of girls around you, even dealing, because you probably talk yourself into something, talk yourself out of it. So what are you talking about? Anyway, that's another story. So bottom line is, right, no friends. So I'm kind of like trying to get to this because this is a very troubling conversation, subject I've got to get to. And so, like I said, and during this process, I was thinking about that. But what got me thinking about that initially was about this fear thing. I mentioned it yesterday. I said I didn't realize that fear was motivating me because I said, okay, I wanted to always do the right thing and all this kind of stuff. But it was fear that was driving it. I didn't realize it until I really thought about all that. I said, it was fear that was really driving the whole thing. My fear, they put on me about telling me that you're going to die and go to hell forever and ever. And I said, I was a child, young mind like that, and plus a mind like mine. That was crippling. That was crippling. I knew I was going to die, and I knew I didn't want to go no hell forever, never. And my mama told me that. I think my mama told me that. I got in church anyway because she was Baptist. And my father didn't tell me that. He never told me anything like that. But anyway, it was told to me. And I had no way to know if it was true or not. I mean, I didn't even think whether it was true or not. I just said, it was told to me. You don't say, well, I want is this true or not, especially at that age. It's told to you, so you accept it. That's a fact. Especially from your parents when you're a child. But they tell you, you don't start questioning. Not at that age when cause my mother died when I was 9, so I was under that fear 5 or 6, 7 years old. So you just say, that's it. And a lot of kids, it don't register with them, but it registered with me because I was always a thinking kid, right? Oh, damn, ooh. And that was motivating me. That's how in the Bible, I could understand. I was like, why did I get in the Bible? And I said, oh, because that's the Bible's where stuff comes from. At least that's what they say. That's how all that stuff came to focus. I said, oh, man, that was what drove me. I said, I always want to do the right thing. Because why do I always want to do the right thing? I'm scared to death of doing the wrong thing because I don't want to go to hell. It all fell into place. And that's why I went to the Bible, because the Bible's where it said, so forth, so on. And then I said, okay. And I looked a little deeper. about this baptism thing. What is this baptism you're talking about? I said, I know I go to baptism. I said, it's the time right now. So what's the, I just, I ain't think about it deeply. So let me read that baptism thing is. And then I went and looked at the other thing and it said about the soul. And I started putting these things together and I was trying to find out exactly what this baptism specifically is, because I just accepted it. I got so many things in my mind, brothers and sisters. I didn't look at it, how it affected me particularly. I mostly how it affected other people, because that's what my mission is, to help other people. All right? I said, I'm covered, so I didn't have to go into that. So I started looking at these things. And I said, something I'm going through right now, and it's distressing. And I started putting things together. The bottom line, let me cut to the chase here, brothers and sisters. Let me talk about something else before I get there. Let me talk about something else before I get there. Because this is a very, very difficult subject. See right here? Now, our women, see, we had to go through Holocaust, but we got men and women. And it's going to be different for both. But it's to achieve a certain goal. That's why Dr. Shabazz set it up, is to achieve a certain thing. And the bottom line is to elevate us to God's under a pressure. But I said it depends on the quality of the pressure that causes transformation. It has to be the quality of the pressure. It has to be restraining pressure. Like I said, if you put pressure on a balloon underwater, it's pop up someplace else. But if you constrain it, then it has to, right? Like a diamond coal has to be restrained, and it can't get it moving. Because that's what, once we was here, we couldn't go any place. Esau and them, they went under the same pressure too, but they wasn't transformed because they could move, get, just the pressure. So the quality of the pressure wasn't restraining. But for us, it was. So that caused a transformation. But it'd be different both. And so we had to be able, and so what criteria does it make you become a God? Well, discipline. Because you got to discipline your emotions, because it's really a battle between the heart and the mind, the emotions and the intellect, the mind. That's the battle. See, the devils, they're mostly into emotion, because the whole world's about emotion and everything else. See? And that we have to overcome that. Start thinking mathematically, because we think totally different. If you think emotionally, then that's how they get you. Oh man, you're going to kill little babies and all that kind of stuff, see? But you know that, but you see it happen in the Bible? They don't have that. So God don't have any power with that. They're drown them all. Because Sodom and Gomorrah just burned up all the babies and everything. I said, well, yeah, but if you talk from the Seal Bible's point about, man, that's evil, that's wicked. Take a baby's feet by the brain. Ooh, because if you're coming from there, you got a whole different perspective on it. But if you're coming from the mathematical side, and that's what it's still, when you get into the scripture, that's exactly where they're coming from, because you have to think mathematically to do the thing they're telling you that you have to do. So if you think it's social, if you're still on the Seal Bible side, you can't do those things. And so if they look at the things they did, okay? Now, I'm talking from the women's point of view. They went through a different quality of pressure than we did. And that was mostly focused on their emotions. I wasn't focused on emotions that much, but theirs was. That was most focused on strength, putting on much pretty work hard, your strength. Right. I was primarily strength, but theirs was mostly on emotion. See? So we have the strength enough to transform, to endure, and they have enough. Will they be able to have enough discipline to overcome? Because look at the stuff they make them do. First of all, look at one of the things. They rape them, and then they have to carry their masters, the one that raped them, their baby. carry them 9 months, give birth to them, and then have emotional attachment to that baby. But that baby's the enemy. That baby hates them. Gonna grow up to hate them, maybe kill them, beat them. So baby's a demon. That's gonna hate them. Hate them for even, oh man, damn man, why could my mother be white? You the reason why I got it. I'm in this fields. Cause you the reason I'm black. See, you don't understand. See, they don't tell you what these demons really like. Because these demons, they was worse. Demons were worse than the devils in many ways. Because you see a guy in Django, he was a demon, and he hated black people. He thought it was white. The one, what's his name? You know what I'm talking about? What's it? Anyway. And they was the one, they get them to beat you, whip you, and carry on, because they hated you. And so if she got to give birth to something, and she got emotional attachment to it, and she might, depends on how strong her emotion is, she might try to defend the baby and everything else, even though this baby's going to grow up to hate her. And not only that, and see this picture right here? This is another side of it. Now she's got to nurse the devil's babies. I mean, all the white ones. She got to nurse them. And that's a known, that's clear enemy. See, the demons, they're a hidden enemy. But this is clear. She got to nurse it. And that baby's going to grow up to hate her, beat her, call her nigger and everything else. But she got to nurse it. And then she build an emotional attachment to that too. So her emotions are tied to the max. That's what I'm saying. The sisters, their emotion was attacked to the max. Because that was the nature of the quality of pressure that was put on them to see if they could overcome it. And that was horrible for a woman. Some of them couldn't do it. Some women sacrificed their lives because they saw, hey man, they knew that master raped them, and that baby come through, and they find a kind of way to choke or something, make it say, oh, it's stillborn, because they didn't want that damn baby. They were strong enough to overcome the emotion, because they still had emotional attachment, because how could you not? You carry that baby inside you for 9 months, that baby's part of you. So in other words, but you got to say, and especially in the state we were, this enemy. I let him grow up, he going, see, I mean, we weren't even allowed to think. So in other words, you have to be very, very strong, right, to overcome that. And some sisters was able to do that. So it's a strong emotional. Two, the devil's babies and then the demons. And so she had to deal with both of those in a very, very intimate level. See? For hundreds of years. And that was the nature of her. That was the primary nature of her Holocaust. The pressure put on her, the quality of the pressure on her, because it directed her emotions. And some just could. They actually turned around because they wanted to protect them babies, and they hoped those babies, they'd turn on their own people to protect their baby. Somebody come and say, man, that's a demon, man. They wouldn't call it a demon, but they had a name for him. I forgot the name they used back in slavery. But they had a name for it. Of course, they knew that was a master's child. And if they were plotting against to get rid of him, she found out about it. She going to tell, man, you going to kill my baby and get them killed, because they was plotting against, because they knew that this was he was working for master. He's working with master because he was a demon. And they said, when everybody's looking, let's get rid of him. And she found out, and she going, hey man, you going to get rid of my baby? And see what I'm saying? I hope you get the idea. I don't want to go too much detail here, but that's what. And so it came to me, right? Because like I said, I'm trying to put all this together. I'm thinking these things too. Like I said, about a month or so ago, I started. When I started that, I almost said, oh man, maybe I should be going down, because I had so many things to do. And then this, I started, oh man, I started thinking about this. God said, because it, it put me into the emotional plane, because I'm saying, because at my point at that time, we got to get rid of demons. We got to get rid of these sellouts, like Ishmael and them. And I'm just thinking, but I didn't never think that some of them are children. Some of these demons are going to be little babies. That never occurred to me before that. So they're going to be little babies. And their mothers is going to be original women. And right there, man, it was like, uh-oh, where's this going? Where's this going? And I started digging more, and it got more horrible. It got more difficult. I'm saying, because I'm not thinking that way. I'm just thinking we got to get rid of demons. We got to get rid of like Ishmael now, right? And then when I said about the thing about soul and the body, DNA. And the demons, some are gonna be children. Okay, okay, I can deal with that, right? Because some of these demons, right, they got mothers, and their mothers gonna be original women, and she's gonna be pleading for them. See, it got really complicated. She be pleading for them. Some of them gonna be pleading for them. Oh man, especially if they're little children. You see? And then I gave birth to somebody like Ishmael. And he's got to go, but his children got to go too. But they got mamas that may be original. And she got emotional attachment to these children. And they're going to speak out, man. Oh, come on, man, You see, you get the detail here? I said, damn, I hadn't thought about it like that. I hadn't thought about it like that one. See? And then something else came in. I said, oh, man, I said, this really got very complicated. And then I was saying, see, because I realized this is a trial. Remember I said about the baptizing? I said, but it's got to be more of a direct thing because I'm still seeing it, but still not directly connected to me, right? Because it's something I'm seeing that's about to happen, and that's actually happening to me. And then it came to me. Because remember, the trial is happening right now. And that wasn't a trial. That's just something that I'm going to have to deal with. It wasn't a trial. Something that, in the future, a trial is something happening to you right now. I said, what's happening right now? I said, oh, I had to deal with that kind of, I said, yes, I do. I said, because I got friends. I never had friends before. That's why I made connect. I said, I got friends. Because that's the nature of the trial. Because about 4 years ago, these people come to me and they talk in my language. And so I start connecting with them. At first it was one person, and I had an issue with that. It wasn't a friend, but no connection with their family. No connection with their family whatsoever. So I got rid of him, right? But I told him. And it didn't hit me at the time. I said, man, you destroyed yourself and your seed. But it didn't, but I had no connection with the seed, so it really didn't have no emotional attachment to me. I didn't know. I knew it was him. But these other ones. And I started getting friendship. We started talking, meeting their families and all that kind of stuff. And my wife got involved and so forth. I said, oh, man, God damn. That's the trial. But it didn't register because I said, well, but it was, I didn't say it goddamn right there. I said, oh, that's the child. But it really wasn't significant because, like I said, because I saw the battle. I didn't recognize it as a battle. battle between the mind and the heart. Because I kept saying, man, they're not producing anything, so man, I should. Then because I kept saying, oh man, let's give them another chance. See, I had that battle going. Because they, right? Otherwise they wasn't friends. I was in the past. You out of here, right? So, oh no, well, the emotional issue kick in. Oh well, give them another chance. Try this, try that. And still, oh man, you need to let them go, man, because they ain't producing anything. The scripture said if they ain't producing, they ain't. Only you know them. They have to be, and they ain't doing it. So, oh yeah, well, give them another chance. See the conflict there. And that was going on. I didn't realize it. Just like I said, wow, it took me a while to figure out that was actually a trial. I see all this stuff coming into play here. And then it kept going. Some cut to the chase here. It kept going until somebody did something, right? That broke the camel's back. Because I do not tolerate liars. It tells you to get rid of all liars. You don't give liars a second chance. You can't trust them. And someone told me a lie, and then this thing came real. Because now we friends. But that's the mindset, that's what has to be done. Right? The heart says, we friends though. Mind says it has to be done. That's my trial. That's when everything came into focus. That's when everything came into focus there. Because I hadn't thought of it like that, right? Because I like a hermit. So I never deal with people on social, but now the point is, then I realize I got to really deal with this whole nation on a social level too, because that's what a high priest is all about. See, the God, he deals on an administrative level. The God deals with everything on an administrative level, right? But the high priests have dealt with people on the social, the intimate level, deal with the issues, the kind of problem, advice, that kind of stuff. But that's not the God. He's right. He's like a captain or something, right? And so, and that's why I said, I've been saying this in the past. I says it seems like they always pick somebody that's totally against. They don't know how the qualification to do what they want you to do. Like I said, Elijah Muhammad had to speak to people, but he couldn't barely talk. He didn't have any education. And here I'm a person, I got to deal with these people that something I totally don't against. I mean, I don't want to deal with people. I'm a hermit. And now I got to deal with people. It never occurred to me that because that's what it says. High priest, and I like I said, didn't really resonate how it affected me directly. So, oh man. And so, when we take out the demons, a lot of demons going to have mamas that's going to be upset because we got to take out their children and their original women. And that's going to be a trial for them personally. Otherwise, they're going to turn to Lot's wife. Oh, man, this thing got so complicated. I said, man, why did I go down that road? I didn't even think of it like that. And I realized that's my final baptism. It was saved for last. Because that's it. Because that's where we are right now, and it's about to happen. And some women are not going to be able to do it. Because it's emotional tabs. They ain't going to make it. They're not going to make it through tribulation. I knew tribulation would be bad, but I didn't see it from the male-female side. I didn't think of it like that. Because that's going to be the trial for the females. See? Because they're mothers of these demons. And they're mothers of these traitors, and they're mothers of their children. They're mothers of Ishmael children. The so-called son of man. See? And they got to go, and their seed got to go too. And so some of them are not going to be able to do it. And that was a test for me. Would I be able to do it? Because it wouldn't have tested me before, because I never had any friends. So it was academic, just to get it done. But then you have friends, there's a test, right? To see if I can do it, because I'm going to have to do it on a bigger scale, because he's the one that got to make that kingdom perfect to give the Master Muhammad. And so, and the women, they have to, right? Because I said, I'm their protector, but they got to rise above that to become the gods, because that's the criteria they had to overcome. The discipline they had to come over, discipline their emotions to become goddesses. That's their trial. That's their trial. That's the discipline. Because see, they have to achieve Hajj too. They got to get the angel, but they're never going to get it if their emotional is greater than their intellectual. They're never going to get the angel anyway. So I'm kind of leave it there, bro. I mean, I could go much deeper in this, but I think I said it enough right there. I said, you're not going to like it. I don't like it. And I hadn't thought about it. And so I had to make a decision. And so I made the decision. Right? And so that's what I'm saying. So because I kept saying, why these, what was the really purpose of these three people? Right? What's the purpose of these people coming here? At first I couldn't say, well, yeah, well, okay, because in Daniel, they're just there. And the angels seem like they're doing something, right? But then it says that's questionable too, because I'm not going to do it if they answer. But they got those books. And that was always a question in my mind, in the back of my mind, was whether they'd have those books or I have to get those, or be somebody in the nation of Islam that those books would get, because they'd have to have those books. Ain't no doubt about that. See? So that's where it came down to. That was a trial, and I didn't recognize until recently. I said, oh, man. And now I know that's something I got to deal with, because you have a lot of sisters upset, crying. I'm not to protect the sisters. But I'm going to be Lot's wife. They're just going to be able to do it. You can understand that. They would plead everything with you, because that's their nature to do it. But that's the mathematics of it. That's the trial. Can you overcome that emotional? See, that's emotional. That's what I'm saying. That's an emotional trial for them. That's what he's put in that situation, to see if they can overcome intense emotion, because that's intense emotion for them. That's intense emotion for them. Their children that they have a connection with. But it's to see to somebody else. And it's somebody else, they're responsible for that, but they have a most connection to them because they gave them birth and everything else. But they're demons, or they deceit of traitors and carrying on. And they got a strong emotional connection. Can they overcome that? That's an extreme test. That's the nature of the Holocaust for the sisters. Then it came to me, that was it. And so they going to overcome that? A lot of them are not going to be able to do it. See, Holocaust, I told you, Holocaust was not a joke, unprecedented. We had to go under intense pressure. And for the women, that was the nature of it. That was the nature of it. I said that's the way the universe works. We can't do anything about it, or we change the quality of it. So that's it, brothers and sisters. I don't think I want to talk about this again. But that's it, if you understand it. I didn't see it until then, right? And like I said, it was like a spark. Because when somebody lied to me, and I think, and I said, stop. That was a trial. And not only a trial for me, but it's a trial for, it's the nature of trial. Because no, with Holocaust, what was it, was the nature of trial for the women? It was different nature of trial for the men. It had to be. And I never looked into it that deeply. And so that's what it is. That's the nature, that's the trial for the females. And that's going to be a big trial when we take down these demons. And take out these hypocrites, these liars. Right? And all those that offend me, that resist this message, they got to go. And their seed got to go with them. But their mothers, right? They got those. They have those. Their seeds. They have mothers. And mothers have emotional attachment to them. And it'd be hard for them to say, "Oh, go no." I said, I don't like it, brothers and sisters. I don't like doing this job. I don't like any of this. I understand it. I don't like going to the Holocaust, right? I understand why a lot of nations said, I don't want to go to that, right? I'm glad it's over with, right? That's just we can't control the nature universe. We only control the quality of it. And this come down to the last test, and I can see that's a hard, I can see that's the hardest test. See, the hard cost, prepared the women for it, right? Prepared for it. But now the actual test is tribulation. That's why it's unprecedented, because the hard cost was bad, but that's going to be worse. Because they see their own children destroyed before their face. They're going to have to go along with it. Or turn Lot's wife and be destroyed. Because they got their children, they married a fool. And fool got to go in the seed too. But that they got emotional attachment to that seed. They married a demon, a devil, or they married a demon. And demon seeds got to go too. But they got emotional attachment to a extreme emotional attachment. That's hard. But that's the price they got to pay. They want to be godless. And if that's the hard cost, the price we had to pay, the men has, right? I'm just focusing on with the women. And I started thinking about this, and I came in, and I said, oh, man, I said, this is hard. But this is one of the hardest things right here, this one. That's why it says, I got a baptism going, I'm in distress until it's over. Because I said, this is very distressful, this information. Very distressful. Hadn't thought about it. Very distressful. And I don't know, I'm not a female. And I really can't imagine, but based on my experience, I know that's going to be a extreme test. I think most females are not going to make it. But the ones who do make it, they be goddesses. They elevate to goddesses. Because they showed that they was able to discipline their emotions, right? Their mind over matter. That's what it's going to take for them to become goddesses. Wow. What it takes to make a diamond takes intense pressure, and this intense pressure for the females, intense. I mean, you can't get any more intense than that. But that's the price they got to pay to your guys. I didn't really. I don't know if it came this to me years ago. I don't know how my reaction would have been, because it hit me when it came down on me came like oh, I tell you, I don't like doing this. I hate it. And this information came down to me like a ton of bricks. I mean, this is the hardest. Of all the information I've got out of the Injil in my 30 years, this is the hardest one. I guess I saved it for last. Because my last trial, I've been tried every other kind of way, except this one. Like I said, I was wondering why I never had any friends. Okay? And then all of a sudden I got friends, because I said they was talking my language. I said people had to talk my language and everything, so we communicate, I got involved, their families and everything else. Because it had to be that kind of scenarios, like Guam had to be a scenario where I was on an island where I couldn't get away. You understand what I'm saying? Otherwise, I would have just took off. It was in Chicago or something. I was left someplace else. I was locked in. It's like being here, being in America. We locked in. That pressure had to be, the test had to be, right, concentrated. So that's why we was here in America. We couldn't go any place. We had to be transformation. So Guam was a transformation. right? So all these different things, right? And so this here is transformation too for me, mentally. Because when can I do this? Can I do this? Because that's what's required to putting this nation together, to make sure it's clean, perfect, no flaws, anything in it. That's what it takes. And I didn't realize it. That's what I got to go to. I got to baptism first, and I said, what? And this is the hardest. Okay. Without having, but say, that's what I'm saying. Had to become that way. Had to be friends. People talk my language. Had to be communicate with them. Had to have families. Had to have children. I try to get you to understand and master how all this stuff works. So that's it, brothers and sisters. I think I'm gonna leave it there. So this is gonna happen now that this trial is finished. There's no other trial for me to go through, because it says what happens. The only other trials I got to go through is just the battles, because it says when the tribulation comes through, I'm pulled out of here. So I finished my trials, those kind of trials. Now I got the battles. I'm hardened. I'm ready for battle. Right? So I don't need any more trials. I'm ready. This is the last one here. But the sisters still got to go through it. They're going through with their women and children. They're going with their children and everything else. The first one's hit when they take out these demons. Those sisters that married to demons, the original, they're going to hit right there. Then take out those that fit. Remember, so those they put in the furnace. They ain't putting burn up. They got mothers too. And some of them be children. I mean, their fathers, right? They got to. Their fathers that then they got to go too, and they got mothers too. I mean, he's the one who's got to do this. He sent his angels out to do this. So this was a trial to see if I could do it. And so therefore I made a decision. I thought about it. I went around a couple of days and everything else. And it came to me. I said, oh, damn. And I made a decision. So I had to cut this person out. Right? And that's what that was all about. It was a trial. I was trying to figure out what these three people, they did really do something. What's this about? And that was it. Family, friends, stuff I never had before, all this, right? Communicating, talking, spending time, and all that kind of stuff, right? And the battle between the heart and the mind. Oh man, they mess up, they make mistakes. Oh, come on, let's give them all a chance. I kept saying because the battle was there. I kept saying, oh man, stop it. And then I'd go back on it. I make a lie of myself. We'll try this. We'll try that. Well, see, that was the battle I was going through, and I was being tried and didn't realize it until it finally came to me, and I said, uh-oh, got to make a decision here. Got to be one way or the other. Okay, I'm going to close out, brothers and sisters. Wait, where we at here? Well, let me check. See if I want to speak to this or not. Okay. I can't speak this enough, this here thing, this situation, brothers and sisters. I should just leave where I am at right now, to tell you the truth. Because that's enough. That's enough. I don't like it. But I'm not here about what I like, what I don't like. Here to do a job. That's what's required. And I didn't hear, ooh. That's the one thing about Zenja, but keep sneak up on me. So I think I backed into it. I didn't realize. And this. And the way they, I guess they know my way of thinking, because this snuck up on me. I ain't see this coming. And I see this coming. I've been talking around it and everything else, but I didn't see it coming. It's about one of the heaviest, because I'm always looking out for these sisters, right? And now the job requires to do something that's going to really hurt sisters in the most intimate, crucial way. I never saw that one coming. I'm not upset. I'm not happy about it. I'm kind of upset about it. There's nothing to do about it. We got to go home. We got to get this thing straight. We got to clean up, right? And the devil set this thing. This was set up. This is part of Dr. Shabazz process to make the women turn them into goddesses. And it's difficult. It's very difficult to do that because they got to operate on a plane that they're not normally operating. Remember, they got to move above the emotional plane. They got still want to have emotions. That's part of being a female. But they're gonna have service to do that stuff that they was close to now. They have service to do that when they get home. So some of that emotion cut out. But they have to move. They want to be goddesses. They want to be equality. They got to move above that. They got to get that emotion under control, and that's the test. And that's why I tested that way. They got to get this because they got to remember they got to achieve Hajj. We all got to be in sync. Because to achieve Hajj, they be oppressed. Men and females, they got to choose Hajj. That's where the peace is. And that's what it takes to achieve Hajj. Because we can't hold their hand. They got to be able to achieve on their own. Whoa. I don't know if you understand it or not. I don't know if any female listeners here, I know they woo. I know they're in shock. And if they was hating on me, they really hate me now. But I'm just telling you what you need. If you want to be godless, that's what the price you have to pay. Otherwise, you make it, or if you do make it, right, you're going to be oppressed. That's just the nature of the mathematics. I keep telling you, bros, it's just the mathematics of it. Holocaust was the mathematics of it. You got to start thinking mathematically. There's no other way around it. That's just the way nature of the universe. So let me speak to this a minute. I'm going to speak quickly on this. Like I said, the dilemma. And that's why they're pushing, falsehoods are pushing fast, because they know, as I mentioned earlier, they have a plan to get rid of us in the background, and falsehoods knows about it, and they know they got to get control of the Middle East and get power before they get rid of us, because then they turn around and get rid of them. I'm going to leave it there, brothers and sisters. I'm going to talk about this one more time, because this is what's going on right now. And Master Muhammad's getting ready to take them out. David took out Goliath, all the dominoes stopped falling, just like a... I'm going to leave it there, brothers and sisters. Let's see. And I keep having a problem with this thing. I keep letting the road go, and then something happens. And then when last night, went on an extra hour, I didn't realize it. An extra hour just sitting there. So I'm going to see if I can prevent that happening again. I want to let it run because... Oh, and one more thing. I've been putting out there about, I give $1,000 to anyone, right? To anyone that can improve that Farrakhan's that Farrakhan is preaching Elijah Muhammad's teaching, representing. And even more, they can show me scriptures that support all he say is. And nobody's ever stepped up. I put it all over the place. I put on one last night. It got my interest on YouTube, and I put a comment there, for the whole comment, right? And people kept writing, "Yeah, man, we love Farrakhan." Everything. I said, "Yeah." Well, how come you don't? If you love him, he's all you say. How come you don't step up and take get $1,000? Because you're a goddamn liar. They never step up. I mean, why? If they want to shut me up, like I'm saying, I already said $1,000. I made it double. I said $1,000 if you a scripture, or $1,000 if you can prove he found Elijah. And they never step up. Nobody's ever stepped up and asked for it. Think about that one. Think about that one. Okay, hold on. Oops. Keep forgetting. Okay, hold on here. And oh boy, so much. This depressing, brothers and sisters. The knowledge I told you today is depressing. I caught up, it snuck up on me. I'm trying to adjust that one. But it was there all the time. I just, right? But like I said, the trials, they come on you and you don't realize your trial until something happens. I didn't realize this was about the three come in and all this stuff. It was a trial. 'Cause I said, I never had family friends before. And all of a sudden I got friends and they talk about language and then I got the conflict between I said, oh man, that was it's a trial. Mm-mm-mm. There's a lot more to it than I told you, but that's the bottom line. So I'm gonna leave it there. Okay. We're in here. Okay, here we go. Excuse me, I'm gonna let this go ahead and play. So hopefully I'll have another issue like I did yesterday and the day before. Assalamu alaikum.